Over the following nights, the knocking becomes more persistent, echoing through the house at the same time every night. Each knock reverberates through Alex's mind, building a growing sense of unease. What initially seemed like a prank begins to feel more sinister. The unsettling pattern gnaws at Alex, making it hard to concentrate on anything else. Determined to catch the culprit, Alex embarks on a series of late-night investigations. Armed with a flashlight, Alex checks the front door multiple times, only to find an empty doorstep each time. The neighborhood, usually so familiar and welcoming, now feels deserted and strangely ominous. The silence outside is as unnerving as the phantom knocks themselves, adding to the ever-increasing mystery. Seeking reassurance, Alex shares the experience with a close friend, hoping for some logical explanation. The friend, however, dismisses the knocking as a product of stress or an overactive imagination. Frustrated but undeterred, Alex decides to take matters into their own hands. A security camera is installed by the front door, its lens trained on the spot where the knocking originates. With the camera recording, Alex hopes to finally uncover the source of the nightly disturbances and put an end to the growing terror. As the nights went on, the knocking grew louder and more aggressive, reverberating through the house like a sinister drumbeat. The sound echoed in Alex's mind, each knock more jarring than the last. Desperation led Alex to watch the security footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious visitor. But to Alex's dismay, the camera showed nothing. No person, no movement, just the empty front porch. One night, the knocking reached a fever pitch, each strike like a hammer on Alex's nerves. The relentless barrage of sound became unbearable. Summoning every ounce of courage, Alex decided to confront whatever lurked outside. With heart pounding, Alex flung open the front door, expecting to face an intruder or prankster. Instead, there was nothing, only an icy supernatural presence that sent shivers down Alex's spine. In the eerie silence that followed, Alex's eyes were drawn to a small object on the doorstep. Bending down, Alex picked up an old dusty letter, its paper brittle with age. The letter's contents hinted at a dark history tied to the house or the neighborhood, stories of tragedy, betrayal, and restless spirits seeking closure. The discovery left Alex with more questions than answers, but one thing was clear. The haunting was far from over. Determined to understand the unsettling events, Alex dives into researching the history of the house and the surrounding area. Hours spent in the local library and poring over old records reveal a tragic event that had long been forgotten. Decades ago, a young family had lived in the house, only to be torn apart by a mysterious disappearance. The father had gone missing under suspicious circumstances, and the family's anguish seemed to echo through time, manifesting in the persistent knocking. With this newfound information, Alex seeks out a local historian known for their expertise in the town's darker tales. The historian, intrigued by Alex's findings, shares even more details about the family's tragic past and the unsettling occurrences that had plagued the house ever since. The historian suggests that the restless spirit may be seeking closure or justice for the unresolved mystery. To gain deeper insights, Alex visits a renowned psychic who has a reputation for communicating with the supernatural. The psychic, upon visiting the house, immediately senses the presence of the tormented spirit. Through a series of intense sessions, the psychic uncovers the spirit's desire for the truth to be revealed and for their story to be acknowledged. With a clear understanding of what needs to be done, Alex prepares to confront the spirit and bring peace to the haunted home. Armed with the knowledge from the historian and the psychic, Alex prepares to confront the restless spirit. Following the psychic's guidance, Alex gathers the necessary items for a ritual: candles, incense, and a small offering of flowers. With the ancient letter in hand, Alex steps to the front door where the knocking had tormented them for nights on end. As the clock strikes midnight, Alex begins the ritual, reciting the words suggested by the psychic. The air grows cold, and a faint, sorrowful presence seems to envelop the space. Holding the old letter, Alex speaks directly to the spirit, acknowledging their pain and the tragic history that bound them to the house. The atmosphere grows tense, but Alex continues, offering the flowers and asking for forgiveness on behalf of the past. Gradually, the oppressive chill lifts and the relentless knocking ceases. A profound silence fills the air, and Alex senses that the spirit has found peace at last. The once terrifying presence now feels gentle and grateful, as if thanking Alex for the closure they sought for so long. In the days that follow, Alex reflects on the harrowing experience. The house feels lighter, more serene, and Alex feels a deeper connection to its history. This encounter has made Alex more cautious and respectful of unexplained occurrences, reminding them of the unseen forces that sometimes linger just beyond our understanding. As the days passed, the strange occurrences in the house grew more frequent, unsettling Sam's sense of security. Every night, the familiar creaks of the house began to sound more like deliberate footsteps, and the gentle hum of the night was interrupted by the occasional thud from above. Objects that Sam distinctly remembered placing in certain spots seemed to have a mind of their own, inexplicably moving from one place to another. The unease blossomed into full-blown paranoia. Sam found it increasingly difficult to focus on daily activities, their mind constantly racing with thoughts of an unseen intruder. Each noise, each misplaced object, amplified the fear. The shadows in the corners of rooms appeared darker and more menacing. Sam could no longer ignore the gut-wrenching feeling that someone or something was sharing their space. Despite checking the entire house multiple times, ensuring every door and window was locked tight, the strange disturbances continued. Sam's friends and family dismissed the fears as stress or an overactive imagination, but Sam knew something was not right. Desperation led to a decision. If no one believed them, they would gather proof. Sam set up a camera in the living room, hoping to catch whatever was causing the disturbances on film. Each night, the camera recorded, and Sam anxiously awaited the revelation of the unseen guest. Heart pounding, Sam sat down to review the footage from the security camera. As the screen flickered to life, Sam watched intently, the eerie silence of the house amplifying every creak and rustle captured on the recording. The hours ticked by with nothing unusual, until suddenly, just past midnight, a shadowy figure began to emerge from the attic. Sam's eyes widened in shock as the figure carefully descended the attic stairs. The intruder was methodical, moving with a practiced precision that spoke of familiarity with the house. They crept through the rooms, silently opening cabinets and drawers, their eyes scanning for anything of interest. It was clear that this was not their first visit. As dawn approached, the figure returned to the attic, disappearing just as quietly as they had appeared. Fear gripped Sam, but so did determination. This was no ghost. It was a living, breathing intruder who had invaded their sanctuary. Sam devised a plan. The next day, they made a show of leaving the house, loudly announcing their departure and driving away. But instead of going far, Sam parked a few blocks away and doubled back, slipping into the house through a side window. Armed with a flashlight and a baseball bat, Sam hid in a closet, waiting for nightfall. As the hours passed, every sound seemed magnified, every shadow more menacing. Finally, the moment came. The attic door creaked open, and the intruder began their nightly routine. Sam's heart raced, but they steeled their nerves and stepped out from their hiding place. "Who are you, and what are you doing in my house?" Sam demanded, the flashlight beam cutting through the darkness to illuminate the intruder's startled face. The intruder froze, clearly caught off guard. I didn't mean any harm," they stammered, their eyes darting around for an escape. Sam stood firm, refusing to be intimidated. The tension was palpable as the intruder slowly raised their hands, trying to appear non-threatening. In the harsh light, the intruder's worn clothes and gaunt features told a story of hardship. They admitted to being homeless, having taken refuge in the attic months ago. They only ventured out when they were sure the house was empty, taking just enough food to survive. With the adrenaline still coursing through their veins, Sam called the police. The intruder was taken into custody, and Sam's parents were notified. The family took immediate measures to secure the house, installing new locks and reinforcing the attic entry. As the police arrived, the intruder's story began to unfold. The man, disheveled and visibly weary, confessed that he had been living in the attic for months. His voice trembled as he explained that he had fallen on hard times, losing his job and eventually his home. With nowhere else to turn, he had found the attic and used it as a last resort shelter. He had been sneaking out only when the house was empty, carefully avoiding detection to avoid scaring anyone. Sam listened, a mix of fear and empathy washing over them. It was difficult to comprehend that someone had been living above them, unseen and unheard for so long. The man's confession revealed the lengths he had gone to stay hidden, moving silently and taking only what he needed to survive. It was a stark reminder of the desperation some people face and the unseen struggles within their own community. The police officers, sympathetic yet firm, took the intruder into custody. They assured Sam that the man would receive help and support, hopefully leading to a better situation for him in the future. As the intruder was led away, Sam felt a complex blend of relief and sorrow. The immediate danger was gone, but the reality of the man's plight lingered in their mind. Sam's parents hurried home after receiving the news. The fear and worry were evident in their eyes, but their primary concern was their child's safety. They embraced Sam tightly, grateful that the situation had been resolved without harm. Together, they decided to take significant measures to ensure the house was secure. New locks were installed, and the attic access was reinforced to prevent any future intrusions. In the days that followed, the house gradually returned to its usual rhythm. However, the experience had left a lasting impression on Sam and their family. Conversations about the incident were frequent, and they made an effort to be more aware of the struggles faced by those around them. The family's bond grew stronger, with a renewed appreciation for their safety and well-being. Sam, now more vigilant, couldn't help but feel a heightened sense of caution in their day-to-day life. The shadows in the corners no longer felt as threatening. But the lesson remained clear. Sometimes, the unseen guests in our lives are closer than we think, and they carry stories that need to be heard. In the weeks following the terrifying ordeal, Sam found themselves constantly reflecting on the experience. The echoes of the unseen guest's presence lingered in their mind, a reminder of how fragile a sense of security could be. The creaks and groans of the house no longer felt like mere background noise. Each sound was scrutinized, a relic of a time when their safety had been unknowingly compromised. The once comforting solitude of being home alone now carried an undercurrent of vigilance. Sam developed a heightened awareness of their surroundings, ensuring doors were locked and windows were secure. They made a habit of checking the attic entrance, ensuring no hidden spaces could be exploited again. This newfound caution wasn't born out of fear, but rather a respect for the importance of being vigilant and protecting one's sanctuary. The experience had a profound impact on Sam's perspective. What initially felt like an invasion of privacy transformed into a lesson in empathy and understanding. The intruder's story, though unsettling, shed light on the struggles and desperation that could lead someone to such extreme measures. Sam couldn't shake the image of the gaunt, weary man who had taken refuge in their attic, a stark reminder of the unseen lives intertwined with their own. The family's bond grew stronger in the aftermath. Open conversations about the incident allowed them to process the fear and tension they had endured. Together, they made collective decisions to enhance their home's security, installing motion sensors, reinforcing locks, and adding new layers of protection. These measures weren't just about keeping intruders out. They symbolized a commitment to safeguarding the peace and security they cherished. As time passed, the immediate fear faded, replaced by a sense of resilience and empowerment. Sam's experience became a story of caution and awareness, one they shared with friends and neighbors, to emphasize the importance of vigilance. The memory of the unseen guest, while haunting, became a catalyst for positive change and a deeper appreciation for the safety of their home. Sam's journey through fear and uncertainty led to a newfound sense of gratitude. The walls of the house, once permeated by an eerie presence, now stood as a fortress of security and comfort. Sam knew that while they couldn't foresee every threat, they could remain vigilant, prepared, and resilient in the face of the unknown. The experience had reshaped their understanding of safety, turning their home into a place of mindful protection and enduring peace. As the days went by, Jamie's once peaceful home became a stage for increasingly bizarre occurrences. It started innocently enough. misplacing keys, a phone, or the remote control. At first, Jamie dismissed these incidents as simple forgetfulness. But soon the objects began to reappear in places Jamie would never put them. The remote in the refrigerator, keys inside the laundry basket, and a phone balanced precariously on top of a bookshelf. These anomalies grew more frequent and bewildering, gnawing at Jamie's sense of normalcy. The unease evolved into paranoia. Jamie found it difficult to concentrate on everyday tasks, their mind constantly on high alert for the next inexplicable movement. Every creak, every draft of air felt like a whisper of something unseen, something playing tricks. Shadows seemed to stretch longer, and the house took on an unsettling atmosphere that Jamie couldn't ignore. Determined to regain control and peace of mind, Jamie embarked on a thorough investigation of the house. Armed with a flashlight and an intense sense of purpose, they checked every nook and cranny, ensuring that all doors and windows were securely locked. They even ventured into the basement and attic, both places that had always seemed a bit creepy, but now held a new level of menace. Despite the meticulous search, Jamie found nothing suspicious, yet the feeling that something was amiss lingered, like an itch that couldn't be scratched. Unwilling to let the mystery go unsolved, Jamie decided to take the next logical step, setting up cameras. They purchased several discrete security cameras and placed them strategically around the house, one in the living room, another in the kitchen, and a few more in hallways and less frequented areas. The cameras would record continuously, day and night, capturing every movement within the house. As the cameras began their silent vigil, Jamie's anticipation grew. They reviewed the footage every evening, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever or whoever was behind the disappearing objects. Each night, Jamie sat in front of the computer screen, heart pounding, scanning through hours of footage. The house, once a sanctuary, had become a place of constant surveillance and anxiety. In the eerie glow of the monitor, Jamie watched and waited, determined to uncover the truth behind the disturbances. Little did they know, the answer lurking within the footage would be more terrifying than they had ever imagined. With bated breath, Jamie sat down to review the footage captured by the security cameras. The grainy black and white images played out on the computer screen, each moment passing in eerie silence. Initially, the recordings revealed nothing out of the ordinary. The empty rooms, the quiet hallways, it all seemed normal. But as the clock ticked past midnight, the atmosphere on the screen began to change. Suddenly, a shadowy figure flickered into view. Jamie's heart raced as they watched the entity move stealthily through the house, its form indistinct but undeniably malevolent. The entity seemed to take perverse pleasure in moving objects around, relishing the chaos it caused. It rearranged furniture, hid important items, and generally created an atmosphere of fear and confusion. The most chilling part was that the entity only appeared when Jamie was alone, vanishing before anyone else could witness its presence. Fear gripped Jamie, but it was coupled with a fierce determination. They knew they had to confront this malevolent force head-on. After some careful thought, Jamie devised a plan. They decided to pretend to ignore the disturbances, acting as if they were not bothered by the entity's tricks. This would lure the entity into becoming more aggressive, exposing itself further. Over the next few days, Jamie went about their routine, deliberately ignoring the strange occurrences. They pretended not to notice the disappearing and reappearing objects, the eerie noises, and the unsettling movements. Meanwhile, they continued to monitor the footage, observing the entity's behavior. The entity, sensing Jamie's apparent indifference, grew bolder. It began to move larger objects and create more noticeable disturbances, seemingly frustrated by Jamie's lack of reaction. Finally, the moment of confrontation arrived. One evening, as the entity grew particularly aggressive, Jamie decided it was time. They set up their camera to record in real time and positioned themselves strategically in the living room. When the entity started its usual tricks, Jamie called out, "I know you're here. I've been watching you." The entity hesitated, its shadowy form flickering uncertainly. Jamie continued, "I have footage of everything. You can't scare me anymore." With those words, Jamie shone a flashlight directly at the entity's position, revealing its outline in stark relief. The entity recoiled, its form wavering as if caught off guard. In that moment of confrontation, the house seemed to hold its breath. The entity, realizing it had been exposed, slowly began to retreat. Jamie stood their ground, unwavering. As the entity dissipated into the shadows, Jamie felt a sense of victory and relief. They had faced their fear and reclaimed their home from the malevolent presence. With the entity seemingly banished, Jamie's relief was palpable, but curiosity gnawed at them. Determined to understand more about the entity that had haunted their home, Jamie began a thorough investigation into the history of the house. Days turned into nights spent at the local library, sifting through archives, old newspapers, and public records. Their search finally bore fruit when they stumbled upon an old journal hidden in the attic, covered in dust and cobwebs. The journal belonged to a previous homeowner, a recluse named Edgar, who had lived in the house decades ago. As Jamie read through the pages, a chilling story unfolded. Edgar had been a lonely man, plagued by paranoia and an obsession with the supernatural. He wrote about strange occurrences in the house, much like the ones Jamie had experienced. Objects moving on their own, disembodied whispers, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Edgar's entries grew increasingly frantic, detailing his attempts to communicate with the entity and understand its motives. According to the journal, the entity was a malevolent spirit that fed on fear and chaos. Edgar believed the spirit had been summoned inadvertently during a seance he had conducted in a desperate attempt to contact his deceased wife. The entity had since taken residence in the house, delighting in tormenting its inhabitants. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Jamie realized that simply confronting the entity wasn't enough. They needed to banish it for good. Remembering a local spiritual guide known for dealing with supernatural disturbances, Jamie sought their help. The guide, an elderly woman with a calm demeanor and a wealth of knowledge, agreed to assist. Together they prepared for the ritual to cleanse the house. The guide instructed Jamie to gather specific items: salt, candles, and sage, along with Edgar's journal. On the night of the ritual, the guide led Jamie through a series of chants and incantations, using the sage to smudge every corner of the house, purifying it with the smoke. They spread a line of salt along the thresholds, creating a barrier against the malevolent entity. As the ritual reached its climax, the guide recited a final incantation, invoking peace and protection for the home. The atmosphere grew tense, the air heavy with anticipation. Suddenly, a palpable shift occurred. A sense of lightness and tranquility washed over the house, as if a dark cloud had been lifted. With the entity banished, Jamie felt a profound sense of relief. The house, once a place of fear, was now a sanctuary once more. Reflecting on the experience, Jamie appreciated the importance of understanding and vigilance, realizing that sometimes the unseen forces around us require more than just courage. They demand knowledge and respect. In the quiet aftermath of the harrowing experience, Jamie found themselves often reflecting on the events that had transpired. The house, now bathed in the warm glow of normalcy, felt both familiar and profoundly different. Each corner, each room, once haunted by unseen forces, now stood as a testament to Jamie's resolve and determination. Sitting in the living room, Jamie would occasionally glance at the security cameras that still adorned the walls, a reminder of the days when fear and uncertainty had ruled. The cameras were now silent guardians, their watchful eyes ensuring that the malevolent entity remained banished. Jamie's thoughts often drifted back to the moments of terror, the vanishing objects, the eerie noises, the sinister presence that had once seemed insurmountable. But amid the memories of fear, there was also a sense of pride. Jamie had faced the unknown, confronted the unseen, and emerged victorious. The experience had instilled a deep appreciation for vigilance and the importance of understanding the forces that exist beyond the realm of everyday life. Jamie had learned that not all disturbances could be explained away by logic and reason. Some required a deeper, more intuitive approach. The knowledge gained from Edgar's journal had been invaluable. It had provided context, history, and a roadmap to confronting the entity. Jamie now understood that sometimes the past's unresolved echoes could manifest in the present, seeking closure or acknowledgement. This understanding had not only helped Jamie banish the entity, but had also forged a connection with the house's history, transforming it from a mere dwelling into a living, breathing narrative of those who had come before. With the entity gone, the house felt lighter, more welcoming. Jamie took comfort in the small things, the familiar creaks of the floorboards, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the sunlight streaming through the windows. These sounds, once sources of paranoia, now brought solace, reminding Jamie of the home's newfound peace. In conversations with friends and family, Jamie often shared the lessons learned from the experience. They spoke of the importance of being vigilant, of trusting one's instincts, and of the value of seeking knowledge and understanding when faced with the inexplicable. Jamie's story became a cautionary tale, a reminder that unseen forces, whether benevolent or malevolent, deserved respect and careful consideration. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Jamie settled back into the rhythms of everyday life. The house remained a sanctuary, its walls no longer a source of fear but of comfort. The experience, though terrifying, had left Jamie with a profound sense of resilience and an unshakable belief in their ability to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Thank you for watching Mysterious Vibe. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more unsettling, true scary stories. Sleep tight if you can.